Hello everyone, we're about to get started, so give you guys just a moment here while I get myself all my ducks in a row. Yeah, you like that new logo? Yeah, we actually had a guy design that logo for us. All of our Graf-X, uh, I'll call them divisions, are all using that new logo now. So Graf-X Tech, Graf-X Motion, Graf-X Industries are all doing the same thing. So it's very cool. I think it's really well done. It's got a really nice design to it. So we're really happy with it. You want to know where I'm located? I'm up in Wisconsin. So that's where I hail from. So don't judge me. I can't help it. Yeah, I wanted to get on sooner, but it took me a while to kind of figure out how in the world to even try to present everything I want to present to you guys through when I'm at the studio. This probably will be an evolving setup because I think it's gonna a lot of times will change depending on what I'm doing and what I'm trying to show. But yeah, we'll see. Do I collect mainline figures? I used to, but I really haven't been. I haven't been collecting much of anything in the last year or so. Just got to watch the finances right now, but basically mostly just the masterpiece stuff or the third party. I've been sticking with those mainly because those are the ones I like to animate more. I feel like everybody else animates the standard stuff, and it's a lot easier to animate the standard stuff. But I like to do the harder, more articulated ones. I think they look cooler when they're animated. So, but yeah, go ahead and ask away, ask some questions. This is a live stream mainly for you guys. I want to show off a few things here in a minute. Just going to give you guys kind of an idea of what the studio looks like, for better or for worse. It's kind of a mess actually right now. So I didn't. I was gonna like pick it up and get it all nice and but I'm just like, you know what? That's not how it normally looks. So I think it's better for you guys to see the real raw version of me. So I'm not trying to really hide anything. I'm just trying to show it like it is, for better or for worse. So we'll see. But yeah, so what I want to do while you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them there in the chat, and I'll get to them. But basically, what I want to accomplish today is actually showing off a little bit of the studio, going over a couple of the things some of the things I've set up for the current scenes that I'm working on. Maybe show off a few things out of Dragon Frame, and we'll kind of go from there, and then to see where the chat leads us at that point. So I shoot everything at 24 frames per second, and that's what I've been doing all of my frame rates at. I do have Discord. I don't use it a whole lot, but if you want, I can share my Discord information, and I have no problem with you guys reaching out and chatting with me here and there. So that's not a problem. I'll have to get that for you though. I don't have it handy, and I don't think I have the Discord app on this laptop. So I'll have to get that for you and put it out on a chat or something for next time. But I'll try to get that prepared. But basically, as you can see on the screen right now, I have a couple of different things set up. I have obviously the camera on me right now, which I'm going to use that to show a bit of the room here in a moment. Then I have a secondary camera that I can use inside of Dragon Frame. And that's the view. You can see my hand waving in it. So that's the a secondary camera that I can do either separate shots or lining up shots inside of Dragon Frame, or the behind the scenes type shots where you see the people's hands moving and they're animating the stuff. They can be used for those as well. So I know to you guys it seems like I'm just now back, but I've actually been doing stuff this whole time for the most part. It's just I haven't been outward facingly and telling anyone about it. So I don't really feel like I just started again. The only thing I'm more back is being back to YouTube and trying to like actually share my experiences and content a little bit more. Instead of just waiting for an animation to be completed and put it out there, I'm trying to do more. So, but yeah, let me catch up on the chat here. So, when you're asking about the Lego building, what do you mean by that? I'm sorry. After Vector Sigma Volume 3, what I'm planning to do, well, I have a couple of different options, to be quite honest with you, but I do think I'll probably go straight into another Transformers animation. And then it's kind of a decision between Rivals, doing the next Rivals or doing the next Vector Sigma. So I have the Vector Sigma Volume 4 started already, some basics done, and I also have some of Rivals Part 3 done as well. So both of those have been started. So they're both kind of at the same benefit of moving into. So we'll see which one makes the more sense. I kind of want to get Rivals done. Rivals is only going to be 4 parts. So I kind of want to wrap that one up so I can just focus on Vector Sigma. But yeah, so we'll see. Where Vector Sigma is going to be much more of an ongoing series. I also don't the stuff for Rivals. I try to do more basic backgrounds. So I have like the Lego sets and stuff, but beyond that, I try not to do like a lot of clouds or big landscapes and things of that nature. Where Vector Sigma, I'm trying to make the worlds larger and try to do a lot more of that. So that's kind of what we're doing. Let's see. Yeah, I agree about the setting up the Transformers on Earth and then doing the humans. But and that's the thing. It's like I just found that Lego seemed to be like the best way to do humans with the Transformers, especially Masterpiece scale. They're like just perfectly sized for each other, in my opinion. And what my rule is for Vector Sigma is that anything made by humans or the Lego people actually has to be built out of Lego. So all their buildings, all their cars, etc., have to be done with that. Anything that's alien is made out of plastic, just like a normal toy, Transformers figure, Vector Sigma key, etc. Those are done that way. Obviously, I have some things like sand and stuff, but that's just more natural. So it's not a built thing. And so that's, even though the humans can't distinguish the alien vehicle from a Lego made vehicle, they can't understand that. But for us as a viewer, we can then understand that the Transformers are alien and everything else that's Lego built is made by humans. So if the humans have vehicles, they'll be made out of Lego. If the humans try to build a Transformer, the Transformer would be made out of Lego, for example. So yeah, so it's pretty interesting stuff. Let's see. So that rock background here that you're seeing right now, my brother built this. He made this out of foam. He did an absolutely incredible job too with it. I wish I could the camera would reach where I could get around behind there and show you how it was the layered look and stuff. But here, in fact, why don't I do that? Why don't I show you guys around the office? Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover, I would love to do something like that. We would just need the right story, though. I don't want to just do things just to do them. I like having the right story for things. So let me go full screen with this camera, and then I will show you guys a little bit more of the studio so you get a feel for it a little bit better. Here, hang on. Okay, and then I'm also going to we'll just do a quick zoom out a little bit here. So, all right. So as you can see, this is the primary workspace set that I have. You can see that set is very big. This table is about 7 or 7.5 feet long, and about 5 feet wide. It has 2 layers to it, so I have some storage space underneath where I can store some equipment. As you can see, I have tripods and light stands and stuff pretty much everywhere. But then you can see I have this TV set up, so I have my dragon frame up on the wall so I can see what I'm doing for onion skinning and whatnot. I just turn my head, look over at the TV. But this way, it's far enough out of the way where it doesn't usually cast any type of light or reflection on anything. And so this helps me keep the laptop more. Usually I have it here on this desk. Right now you can see the desk is quite messy. But right now I put the laptop here so I could do this live stream a little bit easier. But as you can see, I have, this is the control module here for this light. And then I have some extra gear hanging here. It's different kinds of lights, lights you can clamp on, different type of mic holders. And then over here, up on top, I have my big light box that I use for the primary light. This can be, I could change the color, temperature, the brightness, everything, and I could do it all through software and do it right inside of the program. I could even set it up to be controlled via Dragon Frame if I wanted to control the lights during a stop motion. So that's another cool thing I can do. I have the blue and the green screen. That's a pull-up one here right behind the side here that I can pull up and down as needed. And then if you see farther in the back, it's a little bit harder to tell, but this black bar here, that is a pull-down green screen as well. So I have that to pull down from behind the set. So if I'm up high enough where I need to be able to green screen out the background for clouds or whatever, I can pull that down, and that covers the majority of what I need. And then sometimes I have to add some additional green screen in, but for the most part, that works there. And then over here is a closet. This used to be a bedroom. So this was a closet. I just took the doors off. And yeah, so I have my other light over here. And then everything behind me. Sorry, I'm going to spin you guys around. Don't get seasick. So then all the thing over here is either extra storage or just things that, materials, things I would need, gear, lenses, parts for the motion control rigs, just other things that are handy, little stuff, more tacky, putty, and just all sorts of like little things that you might need to grab. So that is essentially my my workspace. So that's what I have to work with right now. Let me see if I can get you guys set back up here. All right, we'll do this. We'll adjust this, and we'll hit the live here. Now let me switch back to this mode, and then I will get to the comments here. Let's see. Have I watched any Transformer stop motions? Oh yeah, I've seen quite a few. I don't know if I remember any of them off the top of my head specifically. Um, there's I have a hard time watching some of them, and it's not because of quality or anything of that nature. It's more about um, I'm not a huge fan of when people don't actually do stop motion. So when it's a lot more of just like recording them being still and they're not actually doing anything, and then and it's just I understand it's a way of telling a story, and I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not my personal favorite. So I just because I love the stop motion part of it so much more, I appreciate the effort that people put in to actually do the stop motion. And so when there's an actual stop motion, even if the stop motion could use improvement, I prefer those over the ones where they're just more still frames and just where maybe they're just doing more like hand moving the camera and stuff and just doing interesting cuts. Now, again, it's still a good storytelling method and it's still fine. It's just not my favorite. So that's why sometimes I have a hard time, going through different stop motions and stuff. If it's too doesn't have enough stop motion, I lose interest. So let's see. When are we going to see them combine? You will see Menasor in Volume 3. So don't worry, Menasor will be coming. I love my combiners. I love doing combiners. They're like one of my favorite parts. They're super hard, and I hate working with them. I hate doing it, but I love the look of them, and I love the result. So it's worth all the effort and the pain that I have to try to make that all work. So yes, Menasor in Volume 3. I don't think there'll be any combiners in Volume 4. And then you will see Bruticus in Volume 5, I believe. I believe that. And then maybe Superion. Superion's coming in Volume 5 or 6. So it just depends on how I cut Volume 4 and 5 up a little bit. So, but yeah, so we definitely have a lot more combiner stuff coming, and then we will be getting into the Predaking. We will be going there. So, yeah, we have a lot planned. Devastator is not dead. He is being repaired. So I had to. Okay, so the story behind it. This is kind of stupid, but all right, it is what it is. So Devastator, you got to remember this. You got to rewind the clock a little ways. When Toy World made that Devastator, it was like the coolest third-party Devastator on the market at the time. But his head wasn't as G1 accurate. It was more like IDW styled, and I started filming that the Devastator in the first Volume 1, right? And after that, they came out with an upgrade kit that has a new head that's more G1 accurate. So when I was filming Volume 2, I needed Omega Supreme to destroy his head, so he would have to at least have his head rebuilt. So that was the reason I wanted to make sure his head got crushed. And so that's actually why I decided to do it. Yep, a Transformers fan 5000. Yep, I have done some Hound voices for you. You're very, very welcome for that. Glad you could join the stream here. But the Hound that I did for that is more of like the movie style Hound, where this is this G1 style one. I did not do that one, so I'd have a voice actor for that. But what I did want to show you guys one of the scenes that I recently shot in Dragon Frame, and show you. I thought it turned out really, really good, and I wanted to show you this. And then I wanted to show you around Dragon Frame a little bit too in the stop motion rig here. So you can see it a little bit right here in this camera view. It's here on the slider. Let's see. I did get a lot of requests to get anime or different auditions from kids, but basically, I mean, obviously, I'm looking for a more mature, more accurate voices. So, and they all of them had their very well done classic, lower their voice versions. And while some of them are even actually quite good, I still wanted to go with more of the matured voices. I thought those just sounded a little more accurate for what I was looking for. So I tried to avoid casting kids unless I actually had a kid in the episode. So, for example, there was the scene where there was a boy and a girl in the movie theater, and then Prime's hand gets busted through it. Well, that was a child's voice, and then one of the girls was someone from the Transformer World forums. She actually offered to voice that character for me. So, casting call club, huh? I've never actually looked into that yet, but yeah, that's good. And I actually want to get to the point too where, I mean, the goal is to grow this channel, grow these stop motions to the point where, you know, I'm earning a reasonable income off of them. And once I can actually pay my bills and I have a little bit left over, I'd like to take some of those leftover profits and start paying the voice actors, and then eventually start paying them more and more and more as things keep growing. That is the goal. Obviously, I can't do it right away because I don't even have enough money to pay my own bills right now. So, but yeah, eventually we'll get there. I don't think I'll be doing a love interest for Spike anytime soon. Not sure if I have any plans for that. He's got a lot on his plate without having to deal with a girl right now. But Bumblebee, you will have to find out his fate. That's how I will say. You will know more by the end of Volume 3. All right. Hello, the Night Prime 04. And sorry, I'm really terrible about announcing people's names and stuff. So just apologize. I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. Just accept it, please. Just not very good at this sometimes. But all right, let me go ahead and show you a couple things here real quick, and feel free to keep throwing questions out there, and I'll be happy to go through them. But I want to show you a little bit about this the other animation. Let me pull it up here. Let's see, new. I need to get my. It was this one, I believe, here. Yep. All right, here we go. Let me switch views. Which camera we're in? All right. Okay, here we go. So let me get back to the beginning here. So basically, there is a shot in here. This is one of the scenes that that I just animated, I think last week or maybe the week or so before. And this was a scene where basically you have Red Alert racing towards Breakdown, and they collide, and Red Alert goes tumbling. But I really thought it turned out quite well. I'm just going to kind of step through it a little bit here and just kind of go through it in slow motion. But basically, this is all the raw animation here. So there is no editing here at this point. So this is all with like supports hidden behind them or whatever at this point. You could sometimes see a little putty in the ground. You can see that here's a support I had sticking out the side that I paint out later. So then he ends up transforming and rolls all at the same time. I just really thought that this animation, he gets his gun out and then he blasts the other guy. So let's play that back a little bit more standard speed. So that's the animation without anything else. But I thought it actually turned out really, really good as far as the way that the animation actually looks. And so that's, I don't know what you guys think, but I was pretty excited about that particular scene. I thought that really turned out well. Let's see what we got out here. Yes, Lionel edits. This is like a Transformer series. You're absolutely right. This Vector Sigma series is supposed to be like my whole idea of Transformers and how their war goes and them coming to Earth. And then I will actually go back. We have a whole backstory of everything that happened on Cybertron leading up to them leaving Cybertron and coming to Earth. One thing that I decided to do differently with Vector Sigma is I was never a big fan of the whole, they've been crashed here for millions of years and no one ever saw them. And it just never really made a lot of sense to me. So I decided that they crashed more in the 80s, like around the time that they actually scanned their forms. So they've actually only been, in my world, my version, they've only been on Earth for like 30, 40 years in comparison. And they've been hiding out most of this time. So that's why you could look at these G1 characters and most of them still have 80s style alt modes, etc. And I think it makes just more sense as to where this timeline is. And then also, just how they no one ever found them over all that time ever just seemed a little, especially when they're like just sticking out of the side of a volcano. So it just didn't really make sense to me. So I thought this was a little bit better option there, where they crashed, yes, but they weren't like disabled for millions of years. They were able to hide and shield and conceal themselves right away before they were discovered. So basically, if you want to do less frames per second, like you said if you want to do around 12 frames per second, what's your process on how to calculate how many shots you need when filming a shot like this one? So this is how I do it. I'll show you here in Dragonframe. I'm going to actually disable this secondary camera for a minute. And so you can see a little bit more of the sheet up here. And then, so what this is, this sheet here lets you put notes in, and it lets you do, and you could also see the waveform. So it actually goes downward, and this is the waveform. So in this case, if I go here, and if you look at the frames, when I'm selected on a frame, it actually shows you which one it is on the sheet here. And then what I do is I find out where the sound is. I lay out what I generally want. Like if there's an explosion or a collision or a transformation, I'll put that in the clip that I'm exporting. Then I export the soundtrack just for that shot into Dragonframe. So it's only that one specific shot. So you can see here, this is scene 213, take 2. So this is scene 2, shot 13 in scene side of scene 2. And so that's how I do my naming convention and numbering convention. And then what I have here is I have the shot loaded up inside of a Dragon Frame, and has all the sounds here. So then what I do is I scrub through here, and this is where the sound started for the collision. So I put a note here saying collision starts. So now I know that this is where it happens. Now this is at 24 frames per second, but if I would tell Dragon Frame to use 12 frames per second instead, it would then recalculate all this to basically show me how many frames it would be over that same waveform. So it's not going to do it right this second because I already have this set up for 24. But if you do that and then load the image or the sound clip in, it will show you where that sound starts at 12 frames per second versus 24 frames per second. And then you just go ahead and you work through that. So you can be like, okay, well, that means I have 30 frames I need to animate before I even get them to touch. So then you can get a feel for how much you have to move things. And in this case, I had if you can see, the camera is moving with the shot here. So this is on my motion slider. So if we look here in the motion control area, there's all these graphs here. And these graphs basically represent all the keyframes that I have set up. So here's the slider. And as you can see, I have it starting off in this position on slide 1, or on frame 1. And then at frame 30, I want it at a certain spot. And then at the end, I want it at a certain spot. And then I can also adjust the curve of how the motion actually flows. So just kind of keep that in mind, something at an event at 30 frames and then at the end. So if we go back to the main view here, and if we look at what happens at frame 30, well, frame 30 is right about where they're about to collide. So I wanted to make sure that this frame was framed up and my camera was right where I needed to be. Plus I'm panning and I'm sliding all at the same time, and I'm changing focus. So I'm doing all of these things at the exact same moment. And I wanted to make sure that it was framed and focused properly right at the collision point. And then again, I wanted to make sure that by the time it got to frame 99, which is right here, as you can see right here, I wanted it now still, because he's going to be shooting now. So I don't need to keep moving the camera. I wanted the camera just to follow him until he was done rolling. So at frame 99 is where I decided that he would be done rolling at, based on all the sounds and whatnot. And that's where I set the camera up to end it. So it knows exactly how to nicely move right to that point and keep everything in focus where I need it to be. And then as you can see, from this point on, as he's shooting, the camera is no longer moving. And that's all because of the motion control system. These are the types of things. I understand that not everybody's going to go out and buy motion control systems for their stuff. But even though this helps automate some things, the concepts are still the same regardless if you're manually moving a camera or you're not. So these are all things that I will start teaching in the mastery class on how to do with these types of things. I'll teach how to use these types of tools, how to think about how to use these types of tools, when you want to use them, when you don't. We're going to go through all that type of stuff over time. So that's what the mastery classes are meant for. And I will not do the mastery classes live because I don't want to be distracted by the chats. I want to be able to stay topic oriented so that way people can review them whenever they want. So, all right, let me get caught up here. Yes, you did see Abominus in episode 2, or at least the Terracons, right? And so that is a tease. I was definitely planning on using them before the Predacons, but turns out that I just don't really like the figures for Abominus yet. I haven't found the right scale masterpiece figure that I'm actually happy with yet. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to what I'm going to do there. So we're gonna have to figure that one out. If the right figures come out at the right time, I don't need Abominus for a while yet, and I can just make do with Predaking if I had to. But basically, the idea was that Predaking and Abominus are being created in Shockwave's lab, but they don't have they're animalistic, they're raw. They don't have any personalities, and that's why they need the key to Vector Sigma to get Megatron his new army. So that's essentially what he wants. He wants to build an army of combiners to go with the combiners he already has, and that he wants these to be raw, powerful creatures, and that's why he's looking to build those. So that's kind of where the storyline's heading, and that's why Megatron wants the key so badly. All right, let me run through here some more. Am I going to include the military? Yes, the answer is yes. You will start, I believe that's in volume 4. I believe that's why there's no combiners in that one, because the military actually shows up. Especially because they actually go to a government installation to get the key. So it makes sense that the military shows up for that. And I do have Lego military vehicles prepared for this. Some tanks and some helicopters and stuff. So that should be pretty fun. Yeah, the Skunk Life Media, the stands and the arms, etc. I struggled finding those as well. I don't think I have one of mine handy. Let me see. No, I'm sorry. I don't have them. They're all hidden back over here or back behind my wall over here. But basically, there's some I found on it on a website that I ended up getting it sent in from China. They actually are quite nice, and they weren't terribly expensive. So they were reasonable for what you got. My brother found very similar ones, if not the same ones, right through Amazon. So I'll try to find out what those are, and maybe I can get you that link, and you can see what we did, and then you can decide if it's something that you're interested in or not. But yeah, getting the right armatures to try to help hold up things up makes a big difference. But as you saw, like in here, this one up here, when I was doing this animation, I didn't really use them though. I actually ended up just using just one pole piece, and I'll show it to you here. It's right here. So basically, it's just like, it was an Allen wrench, in fact. I think it's right here. Yeah, it was just an Allen wrench. Sorry, and with some putty at the bottom. But yeah, that's all I ended up using for that. And I just stuck putty on both ends and stuck some up underneath Red Alert there, and then stuck this onto the surface. And that's what I used to hold them up, because he just needed to be held up a little bit. So, and I put a little bit of putty in the corner where the actual nose of the car is touching, and I try to hide as much of it as possible, so there's the least amount of painting out effort as possible. The table space that I actually have here is approximately 7 or 7.5 feet by 5 feet. I actually built these tables myself. They split in half, so I can do 2 longer ones or shorter ones if I want to get in between them, and I don't want much depth. So, and they're very, very sturdy, and they don't move like at all. So that makes doing stop motion, because I'm like sitting up next to the table. I don't have to worry about accidentally bumping it and the whole table shifting and stuff. That just doesn't happen with these tables. So So yeah, they worked really, really well. Let's see. Yeah, hopefully, Transformers fan, I actually fully answered your question about the 12 frames per second. If there's still more you want to know, let me know, and I'll try to help you out with that. How long did that shot take? Oh my goodness, that took me forever. It was several hours worth of work for that 120-ish frames, and it's mainly because these particular shots right here, where you're doing one at a time, like it would take me in some of these cases, it would take me 5 or even upwards of 10 minutes to find the right type of way to support the figure and get it in the right spot that didn't move too much, didn't move too little, or I had to like completely readjust it. It was very, very difficult to get it done quickly, but I just took my time, just did it one frame at a time, and just kept looking for ways to support itself while he was walking or rolling around. I mean, and almost all these shots, there was no support. There was just putty holding down. So you used the joints of the figure with putty kind of holding it to the ground so that way it didn't stick up. And that's why I love using the Lego road plates for bases, for the plastic bases, because the putty sticks so well to them. It's a lot easier than using some sort of other like surface. Yeah, it's too cool. I really like this stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, yeah, I get it. Skunk Life Media, as far as like how figures can turn you off and stuff. I'm with you. It doesn't sometimes, if the figure is just too hard to work with, it's just not fun, and it's just not worth doing. And honestly, a lot of these masterpieces have ratchet joints, which suck. I hate ratchet joints, but at the same time, it's needed because the figures are so heavy. So I mean, I get why they make them that way. It's just for an animation perspective, it's not good. You know, at one point, I had thought about doing Transformer figure reviews, but not like traditional ones, more from like a stop motion perspective, like reviewing their value for stop motion and like how good they would work, like depending on like how loose they are and their type of joints and how easy they are to transform for like a stop motion, to like how close can you make it look to the animation model versus the actual figure. And so I thought about maybe doing that sometime, but I don't know if there'd be enough interest in that or if that's just a me thing. So let's see. Yeah. Uh, Action figures, like regular action figures, can be really challenging as well, because you'd think that every one of them would be really easy to animate, but they don't always bend in the best places and they don't always look very good in certain poses. So it can be really tricky getting a really natural performance out of an action figure. Plus, Transformers are robots, so you can get away with stiffer type of animation. Where if you do that too much with a person, you know, it doesn't look the same. So our eyes can tell the difference when it's a person or supposed to be a person, how they move comparatively to like a robot. Let's see. When you saying, if you asked if I bought them or did I MacGyver them, which things are you referring to? Or are you talking about the armatures? Um, I think uh, I think they're called like armatures. if I remember right, stop motion armatures or something. I'll have to get the exact search term for you. Sorry, I know I'm way behind on the comments. I know you guys are like way down there. Yeah, the arms. Okay. Let's see. So animating Lego and Transformers at the same time, I don't think it's actually any different, personally. So here's what's challenging about it's whenever you're animating more than one thing at a time, it gets harder. And then, so when you have like two things that you're trying to time out and do together, it's not just doubly hard, it's more than double hard. Then if you add a third one, it's not just triple hard, it's like exponentially hard. And so on and so forth for every single thing that you are animating in the shot. So it's very wise to try to limit the number of characters in any specific shot, especially if they're actually actively moving and having to do stuff. It's very easy to forgetting to move a couple of them in a few frames. You're laser focused on one spot and you're trying to get it just right, and you forgot to do it, and you took like 2 or 3 new pictures. Then you realize you didn't move that one for a few frames, and you're like, oh no, now it has this big like pause in there, and you're like, no, that looks terrible. And so it's very tricky to do. So it's one of those things you have to have a lot of planning, and always animate them in the same order. So if you're going to do figure 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and always do the same order for all of them every single time, so you don't get yourself screwed up, because that way you're like, you just make yourself a pattern. It's like, okay, I'm focused on this one, he's done. Focus on this one, he's done. Focus on this one, he's done. And then the last one, record, and then same thing, same process again. But yeah, so really, each of their motions are going to be at different timings anyways, depending on what they're doing. If they're making like small hand gestures, that's a much slower motion than if they're moving their whole arm up and down, especially if they're trying to hit something, right? Then that's very fast. But if they're just trying to make just gestures, small gestures, you might actually have quite a few frames just have them moving their hands back and forth. All right, let's see. Yeah, oh my goodness, there's so many times I've had figures. I mean, well, red alert right now. Here, I'll show you. And let's see, get over here, and I'm gonna switch the camera. Why is it on that camera? Here, give me a second. It's using the wrong camera. Give me just a second. That's why. Okay, so we'll flip back over here, and if I pan my motion controls head over here, you can see my red alert. He was sit in the last position that I had him in, standing up, but he fell over. The putty gave way and he just tipped over, and there he is. So I totally get it. It's annoying. Here, I can adjust the focus here. There we go. Get a little sharper. So, yep, that's the beauty of having a motion control, where you can use, and then you could just say, okay, I want it to be at this spot at this frame, and then it just figures it all out. So it's pretty amazing. All right, but yeah, so there is my supposed to be standing up, but he's not. So all right, let me see, what else do I got here. One thing I definitely need to work on is whether it's Marvel Legends or Transformers is taking better advantage of the articulation. Yeah, getting it something to look natural is hard. It just is. Here is a great tip. Most stop motion software can do this. I don't know about every one of them. Dragon Frame definitely can. What I highly recommend you do is if you have a specific action, even if it's something as simple as doing general gestures or how you want someone to talk or how they move slightly when they talk, even that, what you do is film yourself doing the action or a friend. Just take a phone video and then import that video and use it as a reference. And you can, with Dragon Frame, you can actually import a video and lock it in frame by frame. So it will move your video with your animation at the same time. And you can use that as a guide to help you understand how far to move things and what pieces to move where. And it will help you learn how to do really, really good motions. This is especially good for fight scenes. This is something that I'm going to be adapting for my fight scenes. Because honestly, if I had a critique of my own work, my fight scenes are the most thing that's lacking. The actual like hand-to-hand fighting. I don't think I have the timing down right, and I think I have more work to do there. And so one of the things I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to find reference videos of things fighting in a similar way. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it will help me get a feel for how many frames and how fast things should be moving and how many times they should punch in a few seconds, right? Because sometimes you think you're like, oh man, you're moving like really fast, but all of a sudden you realize it's like, oh, that happened over 10 seconds. That was like actually really slow. Or maybe you moved it like lightning speed and you didn't mean for that, right? You know, so you're like, oh, I thought I did that for a lot longer time and it went really super fast and that doesn't look good. So that's the type of stuff that will help you figure that out, is get those reference videos. They will make all the difference for you. Let's see. I find different angles can really make it limited figure. Yes, that's very true. Switching camera angles more frequently really helps. And actually, if you look at filmmaking, that's what they do that all the time. It's very rare that the camera is still for very long. So it's very common for them to flip through things. What about using combiner warm-up he's fine. If I had to in a pinch, I probably could do that. The only problem is that the scale of some of those figures are not the masterpiece scale. So I'd have to do some trickery with the cameras to get the scale to look better. And also just the detail. Sometimes the mainline figures are less detailed than the masterpiece, and they don't always match and go together very well. But that's not a bad idea. I noticed you said take 2. Yeah, I don't do a lot of retakes, but definitely do some. And but in this case, take 1 actually was my clean plate. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I go in here, and you can actually switch which take you're on. So I can go back to take 1, and if you look, take 1 here is, oops, I don't mean to do that. I'm just going to go back here to the beginning. Here's my Dragon Frame here. All right, so if you look here, it's the exact same thing, but just the camera motion only. So that's take 1. It was just, I just let the camera motion happen and I just recorded it frame by frame. So that way when I go back and I do the exact same camera motion with the actors inside of it, then I can paint out those backgrounds. And it's not always 100% perfect. This equipment, while it's very good, it's not so precise that you never have a problem, but it's close enough where I can usually do just a bit of fixing up, maybe move the image just ever so slightly to make it line up, and that's usually there. But the main part is having the right angles, the right focus, etc. You know, when you're doing that, so that way when you paint it out and you have the new background, it looks proper. So So that's what take one was in that particular case. Let's see. I've been wanting Dragon Frame, an actual version, a cracked version. Yep, yeah. I've used cracked software before. I mean, when I just couldn't afford it, and just like, but I wanted to use it. So I used to use an old program called Lightwave 3D. I used to use a cracked version of that a long time ago. So I get it. Let's see, but yeah, I know Dragon Frame's a lot of money, but I do believe it's worth its weight in gold. So if you can at all invest towards something like that, it's really what the pros use. And honestly, it's something, it just has so much to offer, and it will allow you to grow so much in that program. And I think it's a really, really good tool. So I would definitely check that out. Let's see. Great tip on set. So the movements of my figures. So I'll make. Yep, awesome. Let's see. I stay watching some of the channels of guys that do great stop motion action. Yep. Yeah. Some of those guys are really good. They have good stuff. Yep. Leo the Legendary, War TV. I've seen all their stuff. Yeah, Unraveled. Yeah, a lot of them have some really good stuff. Harris, I think Lurio. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he is actually the one that got me inspired to do Transformer stop motions. So I never did a stop motion before, and I saw his Generations film, and he was the first time I saw someone do a stop motion where they made the characters transform like they were in the show, not like the toy transforms. And when I saw his work the first time, he was the first one to get me to be like, that is actually awesome, and I want to do that. And it was right around the time when that Lego movie came out. I just started building my own Lego city, and I was just like, this Lego city that I'm starting to build, it's like the perfect size for these Transformers, and maybe I should try this out. And so I started doing some trial and errors and testing, and I started teaching myself everything I know today. So it's just a process. I just started doing it and started learning about green screen, started learning about cameras, started learning about lighting, started learning about software. I invested a bunch of money at the beginning in buying figures and software and all sorts of stuff to get myself going. So yeah, I totally get it. Let's see. So we're going through the stuff with this car I got. That's definitely been a lemon. Oh, that's no good. Well, hey, at least you have a car. I don't even have one. So yeah, I ended up giving my car to my son, who needed a car more than I did. So, and I just honestly, I'm here at home. Right now the studio's at home, and I work from home, so I don't really need to go very many places, and I'm kind of a homebody. So I just share the wife's car. So that's all we have. Yep. Generations is the one that got you into it too. Yep. It's really good stuff. I would have chosen different music, but that's just me. I mean, everyone's got their own taste. I prefer my stuff to be a little more kid family friendly. I never want one of my nieces or nephews or grandchildren or anything to be able to watch one of my things and have any issues with it. So I just like my stuff to stay nice and clean. And honestly, I just don't think Transformers needs to include all that. So that's just my opinion. It works without it. And they kind of have their own version of slang talk if you need to include slang. So, but love my sets. Oh, practical. Yeah, we've been trying a lot. That was one of the reasons why we actually had a big delay, was trying to figure out how we were going to do the sets. And because we have certain ideas, it was actually easier for the first couple episodes. Everything was inside of the city, so using Lego backgrounds as the sets made it pretty easy. But after a while, we're starting to get outside of the city. So it's like, now what? Now what does that look like? How do we do this? And we were trying to figure out how to do long road drives and all sorts of stuff. And it was just, we tried 3D roads. We tried using Unreal Engine to generate some roads and some background and some scenery. And we tried all sorts of different ideas, and we just didn't like the look of it. We even 3D scanned and modeled some of these figures to try to make it look more like the actual figure in there. And I mean, now some of it was probably our own limitations on skill and whatnot, but yeah, it was just not really working out the way we liked it. So I ended up going a little bit different route, and just kept reshooting different angles on this set. Tried to do some up close to the window, down them driving past the car, the camera, and just kept trying to change up the views to make it look like they're driving down the road with it. So sometimes moving with the slider, sometimes not. That's, you just got to get creative. Because I mean, this set, even though it's great, it's 7 feet long. It's amazing how small it actually is, especially when you start shooting at angles. And because then you got to start building what the road looks like down the road, and that gets harder. In fact, if you want, I'll show you guys what that looks like done. I have a couple of shots of that done. I'm trying not to show too much of the actual thing through these live streams, and try to keep most of that for the Patreon side, but I'll do a little bit here. Give me a second to pull that up. Let's see. Just a second here. I'll find the right spot. Almost there. All right, here we go. So this is it here. Let me find my scene that I want. All right, so let me pull this over here for you guys. So this shot here, for example, is just straight down with the green screen in the background. You can see this part here is the actual set, the physical set. And these were pictures I took of the set and other mountain backgrounds that I've had from other projects and whatnot. And I just kept layering them on in different ways, and layering on more versions of the road, and then put sky in the background and whatnot. So this is one of the ways of continuing on the road to make it look like this is a long area. But you saw the set ended literally right behind Motormaster. So yeah, so that's one example there of how that scene is used to expand the scene a little bit. So we try to use as much practical as we can, but obviously there's some stuff that we have to just composite and layer in. But it's still better to try to even use pictures of your actual scene. And then I slightly blurred them further. As each layer I put out further back, I tried to blur it a little bit more, so it gave it a sense of depth as well. We haven't built all the sets that we wanted yet, but we did build some stuff for Decepticon headquarters. So we have some of that. But let's see here. So we do have some Decepticon headquarters shots here. So we have, these are 3D printed walls that we made and painted them up. And then as you can see, like here's Soundwave, and we don't have the screens put in, so we have green screens there to put the actual screens in and whatnot. So we have Megatron here with his damaged arm. And then we have, we made a table, a medical table for him to lay on. So while Soundwave works on him, some stuff like that. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff. And you can see I still even have some like hand-drawn scenes that we didn't film yet. So they're all in here. Not everything is done. But yeah, so if you guys can look at this through the Patreon if you're interested, you can watch the entire video as it is today. And it will help me out because, you know, obviously I need to be able to pay the bills. So it's always a plus, I guess we'll call it that. So. But all right, let's see. What else do we got here? And then we'll need to start wrapping up here in a little bit. Why did I use AI for the stream thumbnail? Because I was just going to start the stream. I'm like, oh, I need a thumbnail. I'm like, I don't have time to like figure that out. I'm sitting here at the table and I'm like, I don't have my normal, everything else is upstairs. I'm like, I just need a thumbnail. So I'm just like, ChatGPT, like, create me a thumbnail about Transformers stop motion and call it this and make it this size. And that's what I came up with. So I'm like, done. Loved it. So sometimes you just got to use what you have access to. So but yeah, so you could tell that it was AI apparently. So that's fine. I wasn't trying to hide it. So let's see. Are you going to update any of your figures because they're kind of outdated? Yes, but I'm trying to do them as it makes sense to the story. So when, like, for example, Megatron will get repaired and he will then look updated. Starscream, when you first get to the base, he's just coming out of the chamber where he just refreshed his look because he's already been there. And so he just got himself an updated look. Soundwave already back at base, he's got his updated look. As the characters have a chance to fix themselves, or they went back to base, back to headquarters, where it makes sense, then that's when I'm having them refresh themselves to newer styles. I probably won't do Optimus. I'll probably leave him as MP10, and because I have other plans for that down the road. So I think at least for now he'll stay the way he is. But I've toyed with going to MP44 and switching it to that figure, but we'll see. But a lot of these other ones, they'll probably stay the way they are until it makes sense to refresh them. But I do try to, if I change their look, I try to have a reason why their look changed in the story. Try to incorporate that into the story so it's not just quite literally, oh, look, he used a newer version of the figure and didn't say why. But yeah. I am awesome, huh? Oh, thank you. I think you're pretty awesome too, by the way. I've seen a lot of your work. You do a lot of good stuff. So, is the episode going to be 12 minutes long? I don't think it's that long. Let me see. Let me see what it currently is here. Currently it's at 9 minutes. And this is actually after I cut it in half already. So that's why volume 3 actually was longer, and then I cut it in half. So I'm focusing on this half first, and then we'll do the other one turned into volume 4. So I originally had 10 volumes planned, and after reworking them, trying to make them more, I'm trying to keep them, the next ones, more in like the 5 to 7 minute range is where I'm actually going to try to keep my animations more. I want to make sure the story is told the way I want it told. So that's like primary, but if I can get a good stopping point around the 5 to 7 minute marker, that's where I will stop the episode and then move on to the next one. But I think that it does two things. One, it makes it a little bit easier for people to consume in little bite sizes. And two, it makes them a little bit shorter so I can hopefully get them out the door faster. So that's kind of the goal. All right, yep. Catch you around. Have a good time. All right, let's see. I don't know if I'm the best YouTuber ever, but I really appreciate it. So that was very, very nice of you. But all right, well, I think unless you guys have any other questions, I think that's kind of basically what I wanted to show. I wanted to show that one scene off, and I wanted to show the slider motion and stuff in motion a little bit, and that how it kind of generally works. I didn't want it to be a full tutorial. We're going to do those in the mastery classes where I'll go through them and all the stuff in detail, and you'll get a lot more understanding of how this all works. And that way, if something that you want to look into or invest in towards yourselves, they'll be able to do that. So let me turn off this this other video here. We don't need this up anymore. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover with today's live stream. I actually have to completely reconfigure everything for the next shot. It's in a completely different direction. It's actually more of a top-down shot for the next scene. So I'm going to be working on moving around the cameras for that, and then we'll be going from there. So hopefully we'll have more shots done here in the near future. I'm also going to start doing the behind the scenes type recording where it has, you could see like the person's hand while they're doing the actual animation. So I haven't actually done any of that with volume 3 so far, but I'm going to start doing that from here on out, as many shots as it makes sense to do. And that way I have some of that extra and cool behind the scenes footage here where you can actually, I'll do the split screen where you'll see the hand motion version and just the actual animation one. I think people really enjoy seeing that, and I like watching it too. I think it looks pretty cool. So good. I'm so thrilled that I'm an inspiration to others, as there's been people before me that's inspired me. So I am more than thrilled to be able to give back to that. So please, by all means, keep trying, keep working at it. If you need tips and tricks, you can obviously reach out. I'll do my best. I can't say that, I'm always going to be able to respond and do everything, but I'll do my best. Especially reaching me through YouTube comments is the easiest way to get started. And if we need to take something separately, we can. I also have in the Patreon, if you are interested, I have options for special private live streams, and also a one-on-one session as well that you can pay for. And we can actually do a one-on-one session and just whatever you want. We'll just do like a Zoom or some sort of video call, and we'll just go over anything that you want to go over. So if any of that interests you, then yeah, just go ahead and do that. Oh, Damien, man, seriously? I'm so sorry to hear that. My dad passed away just before I turned 11. So I was 10 at the time, and my dad was 45, and he died of a head aneurysm. And so I completely understand what it's like to lose a father. And I lost my mother too. My mom passed away when I was 30, I think, right around there, 33, I think. And yeah, she passed away from breast cancer. So I've lost both my parents already. Um, it sucks. It's not fun, and I'll definitely keep you in my prayers. It's a really tough time. Just all I can say is just take it one day at a time, and just it's okay to have your bad days, and it's okay um, to just need some time just to get your thoughts together and just heal and grieve. It's okay to do that. Yeah, that sucks, man. I'm really sorry to hear that. But well, don't really exactly want to end it on a sad note like that, but I do think we need to wrap this live stream up, and we're a little over an hour. So if you want to reach out to me or give me any other comments or have any other questions, feel free to do that. Hopefully you guys found some value out of this live stream, that you found some things that was interesting to you. And we'll definitely do more of these. And I want to make sure that you guys get your questions answered, that you understand kind of what's all going on here. But and then there'll be some times where I'll actually be in the middle of animating, and I'll do one of these so you can see me actually in the process of animating. But yeah, and then you can expect to see some mastery courses coming out soon, where we'll start going over stop motion setting up and all those things in detail. So that way, hopefully it will help you guys get some nuggets of information out of that will even help improve your stop motions further. So, all right, well, have a good time. Sorry again, Damien, to hear about that. I hope you are able to do okay with that. And, again, I'll keep you in my prayers for that. So you take care, and everyone else take care as well. Just thank you for your time. Thank you for your viewing, and I appreciate everything that you've done. And talk to you later.